Today, I just wanted to make a quick video about the Great Pyramid of Giza and a bunch of strange anomalies that every time I bring up to people, their eyes dilate and they start to sweat and they call me names like I'm a crazed conspiracy theorist, I'm fringe, and I'm a lunatic. So I'm just going to point out a couple of things that make me question why what we're being told very well might be bullshit. And if anybody wants to debate me after, feel free to message me. We can debate live and it'll be a whole lot of fun. So, hey, here goes. Okay, so there's approximately 2.3 million stone blocks that make up the Great Pyramid of Giza. Just the Great Pyramid of Giza, not the other ones that they've found, all right? And they've found over 140 pyramids, and they've barely excavated this area at all right? Here, just for a moment, just try to count to a million, right? Yeah, you're not going to do that, right? Yeah, because that would take an awfully long time. Now, the idea of moving these massive, ridiculously overpowered stones, yeah, you probably wouldn't do that, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. Not only are these stones ridiculously heavy, but they're so perfectly cut, it actually looks like they must have used lasers because you actually can't fit a piece of paper, a razor blade, which I've used recently, or a hair in between these things. That's how perfectly symmetrical these things are cut. That sounds kind of difficult. I don't know if any, engineers, type of people want to look into that or whatever it may be. But that's kind of interesting, no? According to mainstream sources, these stones were, wait for it, keyword wait, pushed on wood. Right. 30,000 pound stones were pushed on wood. Yeah, that seems to make any sense. How come they can't build our houses out of that today? That doesn't sound like we'd have, problems with hurricanes or earthquakes or anything like that. That's kind of interesting. If they could, 30,000 pounds of stone, they pushed this on wood in the middle of the desert. I don't know. Also, according to mainstream sources, the pyramids were built in 20 years. Yeah. By their own math, that means that they would have had to lay these stones every 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. 30,000 pound stones pushed on wood in the middle of the desert every 2.5 minutes. Yeah, okay, let me get this straight. Right, they hired the Flash, Quicksilver, Sonic the Hedgehog, and the Roadrunner, right? That's how they did that, because that makes a lot of sense. Okay. The Great Pyramid of Giza also has a swivel door that's 20 tons, all right? That's about 40,000 pounds, all right? That's so mathematically symmetrical and perfectly aligned that a little girl could push it open. 40,000 pound stone, just like that. Hey, no problem, you know? I don't know. For some reason, that doesn't seem to add up with the history they're telling us. That seems awfully difficult. Who figured this out? But not only are these stones outrageously heavy and perfectly symmetrically cut, they just happen to be aligned with true north within the fraction of a millimeter. These people figured out all of this in the middle of the desert with no real food or water sources or anything like that because they were bored. Yeah, I don't know. Something about that seems funny to me. I think they might be lying to us. Some other interesting facts about the pyramid is, well, the three of the pyramids, they happen to be perfectly aligned with Orion's belt, the constellation. Yeah, perfectly aligned with that. It's probably just a coincidence, too. Another one is the pyramids used to be encased in limestone. All of them had a limestone casing that would sit in the middle of the desert and reflect the sun and just bake there. It actually shows up in the most recent Assassin's Creed game. You can run around and check it out for yourself. This isn't made up. There's still a little remnants on, I think, the middle pyramid of some of the limestone left. But isn't that kind of interesting? Giant triangles in the desert. They're completely unexplained, and everybody gets weird when you talk about or encased in limestone and reflect the sun. Who did this? And just to add to this heavy subject, there's that pun again. A recent discovery by Brian Forrester, they found 20 boxes laser cut from Aswan granite weighing approximately 100 tons apiece. That's 200,000 pounds per box, right? Yeah. How did they move these things? What did they do? They stripped the flesh off Godzilla and Cthulhu and like tied rope out of it and pulled that way. How would they have moved that? That doesn't make any sense. And the best part is that they said these boxes that weighed approximately 200,000 pounds per box were for bowls. Yeah, bowls. Yeah, it sounds like bullshit to me. Another interesting factor is the idea that there are hieroglyphs, I mean millions of them, all over Egypt, and they described everything these people did, from how they got up in the morning, to how they brushed their teeth, to how they cared for their young, even orgies. Yeah, they have hieroglyphs of orgies and stuff like that. You know what's interesting? Not one hieroglyph on how any pyramids were built. Nothing. Everything else they did, they completely described, but just nothing on how any pyramids were built, which is kind of strange, no? And for one final string of coincidences, it just happens to work out that the height of the Great Pyramid is equivalent to the speed of light. The base circumference of the Great Pyramid is the diameter of Earth, and the location of the Great Pyramid is at the exact central landmass on the planet, meaning if you took all the land and put it together, it's exactly in the center. I wonder how they figured that out. A lot of weak-minded individuals who don't like to critically think for themselves will probably try to write me off and be like, well, he thinks it was aliens. He's saying aliens built the pyramids. That's not what I'm saying. Fact is, I don't know who built the pyramids. No one really does, actually. Maybe it was aliens. I don't know. I wasn't there. Maybe it was robotic dinosaurs from a parallel dimension, or perhaps time-traveling transgenders looking for a bathroom that we could all finally share. I don't know. What I do know is that what they're telling us from the mainstream sources, the archaeologists and the schooling, is complete bullshit. And all it takes is about 5 minutes of you looking into this to be like, oh my God, there are a lot of weird anomalies about this. The question is, why are they lying to us about this? What's the big secret? I want answers.